It's December 21st, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and we are here powered by 7-Eleven's coffee. The sad thing is in the Midwest, they don't have 7-Elevens. That's not a thing. You got Circle K. Like, you guys have Quick Trip. You don't have Wawa. I'm sorry, the Midwest does not have good convenience /
Okay, Quick Trip is good, all right? Let's not Quick Trip, but
You've never been to a Wawa, bro.
7-Eleven has the icy machine, which is a pretty big difference. They've got that going.
So does Wawa, bro. I went to Royal Farms too today. Royal Farms, Wawa. I sent that in the group chat. Me eating Royal Farms chicken.
You guys on the East Coast, you guys 100% have better convenience stores than we do in the Midwest. We have Quick Trip, but that's all we have.
Yeah, and then Come and Go in like some areas.
Yeah, but not really. It's not Come and Go. It's not that big here.
Yeah, I think that's more like Iowa, Nebraska, Colorado. Yeah. Either way, we got some topics we're going to talk about. I think we're starting off the show today. We'll do a little recap of the Hall of Fame nominees. We'll talk about the New York Knicks, what they're on an 8-game winning streak.
Yeah, 8 games in a row, longest active in the league.
Will Jokic be the first player to break voter fatigue and win a 3rd MVP? Because it seems like at this point, when you win 2 MVPs, the guys are just
3 in a row.
Yeah, you don't win 3 in a row because of voter fatigue. That's literally like what it seems like, unless like you did something astronomical. But at this point, it seems like maybe Jokic might be able to. We'll talk about that. Zach LaVine supposedly being monitored in trades. We're hearing Mo Bamba, 1st-round pick, and the Hawks are reorganizing their front office, as well as Troy Weaver got an extension. So let's hop in.
I missed that Hawks part. Did they fire somebody?
So the Hawks moved their general manager, the one that drafted Trae Young, the general manager of the last 6 years. This past offseason, they moved him to like head of basketball operations, and they promoted Landry Fields, former New York Knicks 2nd-round pick,
yes, sir,
that to general manager this past offseason. But now, 6 months later, they promote Landry Fields to head of basketball operation and move Travis Schlenk to, advisory role. Yeah. We'll talk about this right now. My take on this is that Travis Schlenk, good GM, did everything that he needed to do, but the problem ended up. This is just my reading between the lines, because Adrian Wojnarowski at the end of the tweet said, and they're engaged in John Collins trade. I think Travis Schlenk was reluctant to trade John Collins and some of the players he drafted.
Yeah, and the ownership like, we need to make some moves now to make this.
And the ownership probably liked him. They're like, Travis, we like you. We want to keep you around, but I think you're being hesitant on some moves. And we want Landry Fields now calling the shots because we feel like he'll be less gun shy.
He said in a statement that he's doing it to step back, reflect, and prioritize his family. So,
which 100% could be true. That could be true. It's so demanding. It's so demanding.
Yes.
Being in the NBA, and maybe his kids are getting into middle school, high school.
But I'm with you. It seems like there's more that we're not hearing from. There's more.
He drafted the entire Hawks core.
Yes.
Hunter, Collins, Young, Onyeka Okongwu, all Schleck picks. So my assumption from what I'm reading in between the lines, this is all my opinion, reading in between the lines. I don't know if this is true. I actually DM'd Kevin Stone, our Hawks.com lead writer, trying to get into a conversation with him about that. I do think this is about them being, because why would Adrian Wojnarowski at the end of that tweet just pop in, they're engaged in John Collins trades?
Yeah, like that could have been a different tweet. He could have just left it there, but no,
it was 3 tweets, and in the last tweet, he said there will be a formal announcement made later. And in, I think these are the first or second tweet, he threw in at the last sentence, they're engaged in John Collins trade, which gives you is foresighting a John Collins trade is going to happen. And I just want to pull this tweet up now because I just think it's worth discussing. And I think it's interesting because you look at it right here. Let me share my screen. And because I think it's the gun shyness. I'm fully convinced on it. Right here. This one isn't showing exactly what I wanted. Where is it? All right here.
There it is. There it is.
Schlink has multiple years left on his contract and will remain in the organization working with owner Tony Ressler, which makes me assume good relationship between the two of them.
Yeah.
Fields, who was promoted.
They did.
Yeah. Fields, who was promoted to GM, now becomes the head of basketball operations, which means they must very much like Landry Fields. And Landry Fields is like 34, bro. Landry Fields could still be playing. He suffered nerve damage, so he couldn't be still playing, but like
he's at a playing age still.
He's at a playing age, yeah.
Most guys that came out of the league when he came out, there's a lot of guys still playing. So
yeah, exactly. And right here, I think right here, this last sentence, Hawks are 16-15 and remain engaged in trade talks on John Collins. That's how he ended it.
Yeah, which that just seems weird. Like there's a lot. The Hawks are going to be a team to definitely keep an eye on over the next few weeks and in the next few months leading up to the trade deadline, because they've got to think that they're a move. You got to think that they think they're a move away.
And I think so. And crazy part is that there's been a lot of comments on my latest John Collins Indiana Pacers video, and I posted the video 4 days ago, but the last 24 hours there've been a bunch more views on it. And I'm thinking, I said this in the video when I reported this news around 11 in the morning, and my assumption was right here, I think they're going to trade for Buddy Hield. The Atlanta Hawks are a team that really needs 3-point shooting, and that's what they ride and die. And we've seen how much losing Kevin Huerter has hurt this squad. And obviously, the Kings are interested in John Collins, but you're not going to trade John Collins for Kevin Huerter because that's just bad. That's just bad GM. Okay, and when you look around, okay, Buddy Hield's a guy you can swing and miss, expiring contract. You're not going to be on, a bunch of money. You could even get a first-round pick back. I've said, what if you could package Justin Holiday or Aaron Holiday with John Collins and ask for TJ McConnell, Buddy Hield, and a first-round pick? You solve your backup point guard issue. You get yourself another shooter. So now you have AJ Griffin and Buddy Hield off the bench with Bogdan and TJ McConnell. You got yourself 4 guys right there throwing on Onyeka Okongwu. You have a bench now behind a starting lineup of DeJounte, Trae Young, my man. Well, the only problem now is that there is clearly a hole at power forward by doing this move. But the assumption is DeAndre Hunter would play power forward, and you would probably, or Jalen Johnson, but I don't think he's ready, or Onyeka Okongwu, but he's more of a backup center. What are your thoughts? Where would you pick?
I think, like you said, Jalen Johnson's not ready. So
where would you send John Collins out of all the places you can think right now? Because the places are, the other deal I'm thinking is Malik Beasley and Kelly Olynyk.
My thing is, but do the Jazz take that trade though? You see what
there
I'm
was
saying?
A big trade talked about the other day where it was Eric Gordon, Jay Crowder, John Collins, Jared Vanderbilt were all involved. So it's a 3-team trade, and I think it's John Collins to the Jazz, Eric Gordon to the Suns, Jared Vanderbilt, and Jay Crowder to the Hawks. Huh?
So that is a very interesting 3-team trade.
14, I think it is. I think because I think it's Eric Gordon to the Suns. Suns send Landry Shamet to the Jazz, Jay Crowder and Jared Vanderbilt to the Hawks, John Collins to the Jazz. Does that all work out? Because Gordon from the Rockets to the Suns, and then obviously a pick. I think the Suns send a pick to the Rockets, so Rockets gets a first-round pick. And then Suns get Eric Gordon. Suns send Landry Shamet to Jazz and Jay Crowder to Hawks. Jazz send Jared Vanderbilt to Atlanta. Atlanta sends John Collins.
How many years does Collins have left on his deal? Does he have 2 years left on his deal?
2 years left on his deal.
Okay. Yeah.
So 3 years total.
3 years total. So
you get this year and 2 more years after that.
2 more years. That's what I thought. Yeah. So he's got 2 more years after this year. The Hawks could always just keep John Collins if they don't like.
I love John Collins. I think he's underutilized.
Yeah. What's he averaging this year? 13 and 7 or something like that?
His worst season ever, and it's because he's been moved to the 5th option, basically.
Mm-hmm. John Collins is a good player, and he definitely provides value to any team a lot of teams would be kicking themselves to get John Collins. John Collins is a starting quality power forward at his best. He's a 17-9 guy, an 18-9 guy, and that's fine.
Or 20-10 on a rebuilding team.
Yeah, 20-10 on a bad team, and 17-9 as a third option or fourth option on a good
on a good team.
He's a good player. There is no reason that teams shouldn't be, jumping over themselves to be in the John Collins market. The problem is the Hawks, his value's low right now, and if you're the Hawks, you might wait and see if he either improves or.
I don't think his value is that low, and this is something that
I think it's lower than it was if they traded him last year.
So yes, you're right, but so listen to this. This is something that I get pissed off about with Jackson is he hates John Collins, and I truly believe if John Collins came up in the Kevin Garnett era, he would have been an all-star power forward. He would have been utilized correctly in like a Kevin Garnett, Chris Webber era. John Collins fits that fucking mold because it's just like this like for me. There's a reason why with John Collins, the Dallas Mavericks, the Brooklyn Nets, the Indiana Pacers, the Phoenix Suns, the what else? Utah Jazz, the fucking Portland Trailblazers. Why are there 6 or 7 teams in the league, all playoff squads, interested in John Collins? Because he's a good fucking player. Playoff teams aren't trying to trade. There's a reason why all those guys, literally, all those teams want this guy is because he's a positional player. He can play power forward naturally, but he can be a small ball 5. Okay. And thing is he's worked on his 3-point shot, and TP saying it right here. He's always been solid, and he does. He reminds you of those 1990s power forwards. Okay. Who now have if he played in an era where you didn't need a 3-point shot. Oh my God. John Collins would be a freak of nature if he played early 2000s.
He'd be an all-star every year. And even in today's era where you still need a 3-point shot, John Collins can still be a mismatch as a small ball 5. He still can. There's a reason, like you said.
The Clippers will love him.
Yeah, there's a reason why teams are trying to trade for him, because they know that he's going to instantly make a playoff team better the second he steps into the lineup. Even if he doesn't, let's say maybe he doesn't start, which is not true. He will start for any of those teams that are trying to trade him. But maybe he does.
Brooklyn's trying to give up Joe Harris for him. And I'm not saying Joe Harris is a good player, but why do you think Brooklyn, who already has Nick Claxton and Ben Simmons, still want John Collins? Because of what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Can make you better.
Nightmare, small ball 5. I think John Collins is a great player, and I think whoever trades for him this year or next year is going to be very happy. It all depends on how much are they going to give up and how much do the Hawks value him. Because I think that John Collins is a potential candidate where we're going to look at the John Collins trade in 3 years, Cyro, and we're going to be like, man, dude, they didn't really give up that much to the Hawks to get him, and he's been really good for them. I think that's what we're going to look at in a few years. We're going to look at why did the Hawks sell as low as they did on John Collins?
Another team, imagine if Boston, let's say if they kept John Collins, the Hawks in this offseason, Al Horford retires. Imagine if Boston went out and got John Collins. That's a team that would, holy crap, imagine.
Even if he doesn't retire, still. There's no reason that the Boston Celtics wouldn't. They shouldn't. I mean, they might not, but
any team that has a hole at power forward should be interested in John Collins.
Imagine we would have John Collins and Robert Williams when we want to play big as the 4 and 5. That is an amazing lineup. And then
that's your starting lineup.
Yeah. We would have it. Let's say if we somehow added John Collins, Bob Will, John Collins, Tatum, Brown, and then Brogdon. That is an amazing lineup. Smart / Brogdon at the 5 or as the 5th spot of the point guard. Look at that.
The team's 6'5" and above, basically.
Yeah, so much size, so much switchability,
and basically everyone shoots threes there except for Rob Will.
Yeah, except for Rob Will, and if they want to play shooting more, then move
Rob Will.
Rob Will can do
that. See, and Aaron's Aaron's one of our viewers. He's a big Hawks fan, and I think at this point, Aaron, I want to hear your opinion. I think the Hawks have tanked John Collins' value, and at this point, that's why I said the best deal I can think of right now is either a Malik Beasley and Kelly Olynyk with a heavily protected first-round pick for John Collins from the Utah Jazz, or Buddy Hield with TJ McConnell and an unprotected pick from the Indiana Pacers. Those are the best deals I can think of right now, because I think the Hawks think it this way. We want one starting caliber player back, and we want a pick back. That's I think the bare minimum back. They want a first round pick for their investment in him, and they want a starting caliber player back for him. Thoughts, Luke? Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean that sounds about right. I mean that's not too high of an asking price, and if they get somebody who might be a slight downgrade, but they get a pick back for, and they'll view it as maybe not a win because maybe they don't want to give them up. But I don't know. It's very interesting in Atlanta right now. The Hawks are one of the teams that isn't doing as good as they thought, and they're definitely not going to blow it up like Chicago could potentially, but they definitely are trying to find ways to improve it. Maybe they segue a John Collins trade into moving for a big star. I don't know, but
so I mean, Aaron, that's a good and a bad thing. If Atlanta values him too much, and what's up? Knicks, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. We'll talk Knicks in a second, buddy. But over here, I think, maybe his asking price is too high, and that's why he's not moving. But let's move on to another guy that's just entered the trade market, and then we're going to talk Knicks because the Knicks are supposedly they just reportedly are trying to get in the running for. I forget who it was. I just read they made an offer. For OG Anunoby, and we'll talk about that in a second. But Mo Bamba. The Orlando Magic are asking for a first-round pick for Mo Bamba. And it's, Swaggy, I know it's you. I know it's usually something daily. It's you, buddy. But what I was going to say is Mo Bamba was the guy that we thought Bull Bull is doing right now. We thought Mo Bamba was going to have that breakout season. Mo Bamba had a great year last year, shooting 40%, blocking like almost 2 shots a game. Actually looked like a valuable guy. Is Mo Bamba a guy that a contending team that has a need for another big should be interested? The Lakers, is this a guy you take a flyer on for a first round pick? Because he's locked up multi-year right now because thankfully they did give him, I think it was a 2-year deal. I'll give you a second on what his contract is. His contract he signed, it was a 2-year 20.6, so you are paying him 10.3 this year and next year.
Well, it all depends on which team trades for him and where that first round pick is at. Like you said, Mo Bamba was really good last year, but this year, I don't know why, but he's just taking a step back in the rotation. Like the dude hasn't played 30 minutes in a game in like a month. And this was a guy who was a regular starter week in, week out for this team. So, a team, like you said, like a contending team, if it's a first round pick in the late 20s, I say, why not? Mo Bamba has, what he is capable of.
He's putting up stats too this year.
Yes,
in the limited because he's only played 26 games, and it's literally because he hasn't had consistent minutes this year. But people don't realize is this year, even in 26 games, he's played 19 minutes a night, 8.2 points, 50% from the field, 38.7.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like he's only taking 2 threes this season. No, he's taking every game like 3 or 4 threes a night, 5.5 rebounds. So it shows that last year wasn't a fluke.
Yeah, what he can do. This is 2 years in a row now where he's made over 3 a game and at a 38% clip. And he's averaging what? He's averaging about a block a game this year in limited minutes. He averaged 2 blocks a game last year. What he's capable of. What he can bring to the table. He just hasn't gotten back into rhythm, and he's fallen out of order in the Magic rotation. And I do think that any team, any contending team, it all depends on how much value you give up for him, but he makes a team better. He comes off the bench. Maybe doesn't have to be a starter, but maybe he comes off the bench and 9-6, which he has right now. And
if I'm the Los Angeles Lakers, I'm picking up the phone and I'm going, hey, Pat Bev, Kendrick Nunn, an unprotected first round pick, and whatever second round picks I have, send me Mo Bamba and Terrence Ross.
Yeah, that Lakers team needs shooting badly. They still do. They need more 3-point shooters. Are they still the worst 3-point shooting team in the league this year by far? Because they were at the start of the year.
I think they've moved up a little bit, but they're still
a god awful shooting team. I'm about to look that up just to make sure.
Yeah.
But the point is,
Terrence Ross is the perfect 3-and-D guy they need off the bench.
They need those guys.
They need Terrence Ross. He's an expiring contract. Then you get Mo Bamba, who can help alleviate because Thomas Bryant's looked. You could even try to work out a deal where you put in. I know some Lakers fans wouldn't want this, but if you want to even try to get Gary Harris in this, Terrence Ross, Gary Harris, Mo Bamba, you throw in Damian Jones. Lonnie Walker, Kendrick Nunn, Pat Bev, first-round pick, and as many second-round picks as you can, I think the money might work right there. I think it possibly can because I know Gary Harris is on 14. So, but that's a deal right there. If you can get Gary Harris, Terrence Ross, Mo Bamba, or just two of those guys, Mo Bamba plus Gary Harris or Mo Bamba plus Terrence Ross, those are two players that they need because Thomas Bryant, Mo Bamba could hold it down until Davis is back.
And
Terrence Ross, yeah, and he fits perfect with Troy Brown, who's been good. I know it would suck if you were able to get Gary Harris and Terrence Ross, that's awesome. And if you had to give up Lonnie Walker, but if you don't get if you don't get Gary Harris and you have Lonnie Walker, Terrence Ross, and Troy Brown Jr. with Austin Reeves, okay,
solid wing.
Westbrook, like Dennis Schroeder, he's been quiet, but like he hasn't been terrible. Like Dennis Schroeder has not been bad.
Yeah, they're last in the league in 3-point makes per game, and they're fourth bottom in percentage. And they're towards the bottom of the league in attempts as well.
Can we talk about the fact that Dennis Schroeder had a 30-point game that no one talked about?
Yeah, nobody talked about that. But the only thing I see when people talk about Dennis Schroeder is how he turned down the fat contract from the Celtics to go play for the Lakers on that 1-year deal, and it just didn't work out.
What was it, 4 years, 70?
4 years, 80 something, I think. And he signed that 1-year prove-it deal with the Lakers, and it just didn't work.
And he was bad for the Celtics, too.
He wasn't even that good, but they still wanted to pay him, I guess. I didn't know why, but I'm kind of glad we dodged that bullet.
Schroeder is like one of the – also, listening to Schroeder speak German, it just throws you so off. First off, I have nothing against German people or anything, especially being Jewish, but is that I think right here you look at Schroeder and he just speaks German and like you forget that Schroeder like was one of the first like German prospects since like Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah.
Like he's like one of the most like people don't remember like 10 years ago. Like
he's a really hyped up international prospect.
Like completely forget about that, like about Dennis Schroeder, that he was like this insanely hyped out German guy. And I remember because like, you know, this is like 2011.
Hawks, man.
I was just shocked where I remember I saw his name in articles and then I searched up and I was just surprised that he was a black guy from Germany. That was my first time when I saw it because I first remember reading his name in like mock drafts, and old mock drafts used to not have their pictures. It would just be the name.
Yeah, it would just be names.
And stats. So I was expecting, you know, obviously just because he was German, like Dennis Schroeder.
Dennis Schroeder.
I was thinking some white looking guy like, you know, Rokas Jokic looking fuck. Yeah. Like, and then I see Dennis Schroeder with the little hair.
Looking kind of guy without all the tattoos.
Yeah, literally. I didn't like. I'm not trying to be like, you know, Razor or anything. It's just like that's odd. And then I was like, oh, and I always remember that Dennis Schroeder was the German guy.
Yeah, hyped up German prospect who actually lived up to the hype. He's been a really, really good. He's had a really good career, regardless of how it's been recently.
Yeah, I think he definitely he exceeded expectations.
Oh yeah,
was
he like a late first round pick?
Teens, 17th. Right? He was like
17th pick, yeah.
Yeah, like he was only a 20-point scorer basically a few times in his career.
Played in the league for almost a decade now.
I mean, he fumbled the bag, but like that's not his fault.
He just fumbled the bag. He just signed a bad contract. It happens.
But he's still one of the best basketball players in the world, and like he's still making more money than most people do playing basketball.
Phenomenal career from Dennis Schroeder.
So let's talk about the New York Knicks. And first off, Richard Jefferson did it, and I got to give a compliment to the New York Knicks. They stuck to their plan. You know, everyone made fun of them for not getting Donovan Mitchell.
Happens.
And I think it's worked out. They said they held firm, and they're like, we don't want to give up all these assets. And supposedly the asking price for Donovan Mitchell was higher for him to go to New York than it was the Cavs. They were asking for they have 8 first-round picks that they can trade. They were asking for 4 of them, all unprotected. And they were asking for Quentin Grimes, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, and I think Obi Toppin. They were just basically asking them to gut their roster. And I mean, at this point, it's looking awesome, and we're hearing reports now. Obviously, supposedly OG Anunoby's asking price, from what I reported the other day, is the Raptors, if they were to trade OG Anunoby, they wanted Donovan Mitchell package back, which is 3 unprotected picks, 2 pick swaps, and a few, and like 3 rotational players. But
I don't think he's worth that.
I personally think he is. He's a defensive player of the year candidate who can average like 19 and 6.
He is. He is there. He has been very, very important to the Raptors since Siakam's been missing some time. Like,
but that's not even what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's just this is a team that's getting better. They're playing Tom Thibodeau basketball. Defense. Because you know what's the best kind of offense?
Fast break points off of turnovers.
AKA defense.
Yeah, AKA defense leading to offense.
That's the best offense.
That's the best offense. Defense. And the Knicks are doing a good job of that.
Is that Jalen Brunson, everyone's like, oh my God, the big thing that's Jalen Brunson's gonna hurt Julius Randle because he's gonna take the ball out of his hand. Guess what? That's a good thing because last year they put the ball too much in Julius Randle's hand. And what happened? He didn't have that All-NBA season again like he did 2 years ago. And why did he have that All-NBA season 2 years ago? Because Derrick Rose was playing really good 2 years ago, and he took the ball out of Julius Randle's hand. Last year, Derrick Rose kind of fell off, and the roster around him kind of fell off. So Randle had to have the ball more in his hand. And guess what? This year with Brunson, ball's out of his hand a little bit more. And guess what? He's playing a lot better because he has a facilitator. He has someone to take, the opposing pressure off of him. Now they have 3 guys that defense has to focus. Barrett, Randle, and Brunson. That opens up Grimes. That opens up Mitchell Robinson for some dunks. What are your thoughts on this New York Knicks team and why they're winning?
Well, one of the reasons that they struggled last year, like you said, was Randle was putting the ball on the floor too much and trying to run the offense. I'm not saying Randle can't be a point forward. Not saying that at all. But Randle's strength is when he can focus on getting the ball and using his, his mismatches at the 4 that he usually gets because, Randle is a phenomenally skilled offensive player. And he can just get buckets. And that's what they need him to do. Get buckets. Number 1 option offensively and scoring. And having somebody else to be the facilitator instead of having Randle be the point forward has done wonders for them. And Brunson this year, no slouch to him. Like, he's averaging 20 and 6. He's playing like an all-star. He's playing like an all-star point guard. People were saying in the offseason that they overpaid for him. Well, so far he's making everybody eat their words right now. This team's won 8 in a row, and they're playing defense. But not only are they playing defense, they scored 133 last night against the Warriors. Like, this team's scary. I wouldn't want to play him right now.
Yeah, so for me, when I look at this team right here, right now, 18 and 13, okay? The 10th best defense in the NBA, the 7th best offense. 7th best defense, 10th best offense. Jesus Christ, could not speak right there. And this is a team 6th in the Eastern Conference. And it all comes down to the fact that everyone's playing as a unit. They're playing Tom Thibodeau basketball, forcing turnovers, playing, finding the open man and staggering minutes, okay? That's hopefully no injuries happen, but right now, for the last couple of games, we've been seeing ourselves. The show's been Randle, Barrett, Brunson, Grimes, Robinson. You throw in a little bit of Quickly in there, who's been giving a little microwave off the bench. Then Deuce McBride hounds people. When Robinson needs a breather, you throw in some Isaiah Hartenstein, and it's been working, and especially after Obi Toppin got hurt. And it's crazy to think about because RJ Barrett and Julius Randle, I'm not going to say like they're playing lights out defense. It's really Grimes, Quickly, and McBride. When those guys are hounding the opposing ball handlers, it really helps out Barrett and Randle not having to be exposed entirely on defense. And then you got Mitchell Robinson, who's just blocking anything inside the paint. So it's forcing teams to basically beat them outside. And when you have Barrett and Randle and Grimes, 3 guys right there, 6'5", 6'6", and 6'9". And then you also got yourself Deuce McBride, who's an absolute hound. He's he's our generation's Pat Bev, it's starting to look like.
Yeah, this Knicks team, they do a great job of playing team defense. Obviously, one-on-one matchups on defense are important, and Randle isn't a great one-on-one, isn't a great defender. But team defense. How's your Canadian guy doing? RJ Barrett's averaging 20 points a game this year. He is doing pretty good.
Do you think RJ Barrett's peaked?
I don't know, man. I feel because he's never been never been known for his efficiency, and maybe he can take that next step. but I don't know, man. I mean, what's his percentage this year? Is he shooting like 30-something% from three?
Yeah,
No,
it's
not even at
pretty,
29. Okay.
but the thing is, RJ Barrett seems like he's like like RJ's the type of guy that I see him being like a Mikal Bridges-esque, not like their play styles are completely different, but third guy on a championship team who gives you like 17, 6, and 6.
His numbers have gone up every month. Like the average, he was 21% from three in the first month of the season. Then he was 30, and then last year he was 33. So his numbers.
And I also think he's a better passer than like he's a good rebounder. Yeah, I think if they gave him more chance to pass, like he's already a guy who averages like 6 and 3. I think those passing numbers could get up to 4 or 5, maybe even 6 assists, like in his thing. I just think on a championship team, like let's say if like this team really took that next step, you got Randall and Brunson as your 20-point scorers. I think that's where Barrett, I think, just caps out maybe as a low 20s, maybe high teens. I think his job is more – he's a complimentary guy.
Yeah, but he's still this year as a complimentary guy, still averaging almost 20, and that was with him shooting terribly to start the season. Like he's still a 20-point per game scorer when he's healthy, I think. And I think ideally the Knicks would rather have him be taking more of the scoring load than Jalen Brunson. I think if the Knicks want to have their best winning basketball, they want to have Jalen Brunson be more of a facilitator, and they want to have RJ Barrett push his scoring numbers up,
Yeah, no, I agree. Because I think
that's how the Knicks take that next step is RJ Barrett becomes more of a scorer.
I think TP said it best. I think RJ Barrett's never going to be that guy that we like look at his stats and be like, oh shit, year 4 was the year he took that jump. I think it's going to be like, okay, when he's a 10-year vet, we're going to be like, holy fuck, every single season he just like everything just slowly just got better and better, and it's just getting those reps and stuff. I think he could become an all-star. I don't think he'll be like a perennial all-star, but I think he's a guy by the time he retires.
He won't have the same ceiling that DeMar will.
But I think he'll get an all-star game, especially
playing for sure. He's got to make at least 1 or 2 in his career.
Now let's move on and let's talk about these Hall of Fame nominees. And I want to pull it up, NBA Hall of Fame. What is your thoughts on the nominees for this year? I don't know if you've seen the list currently. I'm trying to see if
I'm looking at the full list like right now. They've got what is it? This is like what? Dwayne Wade.
Powell, holy fuck, this list. I'm trying to find a good list.
Dwayne Wade, Powell, Tony Parker, and Dirk are all first-time nominees for players.
Okay, this is like way longer. Should I just do a graphic and we talk about it?
Yeah, because the page on the Basketball Hall of Fame website has everybody, including people who were not.
So I'm just gonna throw up a Basketball Hall of Fame like little picture, and you know what I mean.
Because the guys that we care about are the guys that I just said, and obviously Greg Popovich.
All right, you good if I just throw this picture up there and we just talk about it? Because I was trying to find a good list so we could like show the list, but.
It's too big.
It's too
on the
big.
Hall of Fame website. It's just, they don't, and they also.
We're not going to mention anybody who wasn't a player. I'm sorry. It's just.
Like Greg Popovich. I mean, he has to.
Yeah, no. Like coaches and shit. Like we'll mention, but let's be honest. We're not going to mention like the refs and like all the people.
No, but shout out Joey Crawford though. Shout out Joey Crawford, best ref in the NBA.
You think Joey Crawford? I like Bill Kennedy.
I'll never forget that blocking call he made. Oh, when he ran halfway down the floor going like this on a blocking call. I'll never forget that. That video is hilarious.
All right. Obviously, Becky Hammon, Paul Gasol, Dwayne Wade are the big ones. Those are Tony Parker, Dirk Nowitzki, Greg Popovich. I don't get how Greg Popovich can get in right now.
I mean, coaches can still get in when they're coaching. I mean, Bill Self got in the Hall of Fame, and he's still an active coach. And
you like John Beilein? John Beilein's in there.
What?
John Beilein's in there.
Oh, I mean, he'll make it because of college success, but
Chauncey Billups, Tom Chambers, Michael Cooper's still not in there. You got Mark Eden.
Michael Finley's on the list too, I believe.
Yeah, and what else? You got Sean Marion, Jim Laranga.
Yeah, he's
Mark Jackson. You think Mark Jackson's religious affiliation is going to keep him out? Sean Marion.
But I don't think Mark Jackson will make it.
Paul Westhead.
Yeah, Paul Westhead.
Who do you think out of this
NBA
list?
champion Paul Westhead, man.
Obviously, out of the women's, it's going to be. Oh my God, they put Marion Washington on this list.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah.
That's KU coach Marion Washington, right?
Yeah. Yes.
They definitely are going to put her in the Hall of Fame. For women, it's going to be Marion Washington.
I mean,
and
dude,
Becky.
she coached there for 30 years, man, and she won like 600 games. So.
Okay, yeah, and she lost like 800.
No, she was her record. Her overall coaching record is 560 and 360. That's good.
Oh, really? Who
Yes.
was the shit coach for KU who took? Was it after her that like just destroyed?
It was whoever succeeded her. Whoever succeeded her was bad. I can't remember what her name was though.
But they stayed way too long.
They stayed for like she stayed the coach after her. She
stayed like 10 years.
Like 10 years almost, and was not very
and
good.
Lost every season.
Yeah, we didn't make tournament for a long time, but yeah. KU.
I just remember when Travis Goff took over. It was a big thing. Like he was like, we want to go back to the Marion Washington ways.
Yeah, but they still kept what's his dude from the previous regime, Brandon Schneider. But that's because he's actually had some success at KU, whereas like what's her name before him didn't do anything.
Yeah, but looking at the guys, I think obviously Dirk Nowitzki, Tony Parker, Greg Popovich, Dwayne Wade, those are all guarantees. Paul Gasol guaranteed. I don't know if Chauncey Billups. Like, I don't. The NBA is so weird because, like, the NFL, it's so much more, like, makes sense. They're like, you got 12 guys.
A bunch of guys can get in, but then they're like, they let everybody in the NBA Hall of Fame, but then there's some guys that aren't in the Hall of Fame. And you're like, why aren't they in? Like, Sidney Moncrief. He's a
Mark Eaton.
Yeah, like Sidney Moncrief, Defensive Player of the Year, like 4-time All-Star.
Michael Cooper. Wasn't he, like, the number 1 pick?
He was top 5 pick, I think. But yeah, like
Showtime Laker, Michael Cooper.
Yeah, what?
Wasn't Michael Cooper part of the Showtime Lakers?
Yeah, he was.
Like,
yes, he was. He took Spencer Haywood's job.
Yeah.
Yeah. He took Spencer Haywood's job for the Lakers and then made Spencer Haywood turn to crack.
He's the reason why Spencer Haywood turned to crack.
Yeah, Michael Cooper, Defensive Player of the Year. 5-time champion.
3rd round pick, actually.
Yeah. He's a wing to win Defensive Player of the Year, and him and Sidney.
Yeah, Defensive Player of the Year, 5-time first team defense, 3-time second team, made an Italian All-Star MVP game, okay, and All-Star, WNBA champion as a coach, Coach of the Year, D-League champion as a coach, and 5-time NBA champion as a player.
Yeah, like he could be a Hall of Famer, considering some of the guys who have made it. Oh, wait, they inducted Sidney Moncrief in like 2 years ago. Never mind, I'm just done.
Your whole Sidney Moncrief thing's fucking illegitimate.
Sidney Moncrief shtick is done now. But anyway.
Also, does the NBA not have like a certain amount of years you have to wait?
They do, actually. I think it's like 4 or 5. I could be wrong, though. For players, it's like 4 or 5.
Also, I like how LeBron just came out and like a year ago, he said, hey, I want to play 1 season with my son. And then this past like month, he's like, oh, I really admire Brady and I want to play to 45 now.
I still think he's going to do I think he's going to do the multiple seasons with the Sun thing. I don't think it's just going to be 1 year.
Multiple seasons what?
Multiple seasons with the Sun. Like for the duration of his son's rookie contract. Every team that his son gets drafted by. That's what I think.
You think he wants to win a championship with his son? Pull like Ken Griffey? Ken Griffey?
Except Ken Griffey never won a World Series, but because he played for the shitty Mariners. But yeah, like he wants to win.
They don't make players like that anymore.
What?
They don't make players like Ken Griffey anymore.
Well, yeah, because baseball fucking sucks now. It's so boring. Yeah. Nobody wants to play with Flashy because every time somebody pimps a home run and does a bat flip, they get thrown at because pitchers are salty.
What do you mean? That's the beauty of the game.
The unwritten rules. Yeah, beauty of the game.
Baseball fucking sucks. My girlfriend's dad's like a very prominent high school baseball coach, and I'm just like still not into baseball. Like I get into baseball.
I find it fascinating and really interesting because I love.
So do I. I get into it for 2 weeks whenever the show is released and it's free on Xbox Game Pass, and I download it and I get into it. And like baseball is like, if I grew up in like was born in 1960, I feel like I would have liked baseball.
Or if we were like born in like the Dominican Republic or like Cuba or something, we'd like baseball.
Yeah.
Like, that's where like baseball, there's a reason why like there's more international people playing it.
We've talked about this, and it's due to
Yeah.
the fact that, like, because for example, in Argentina, it's if you're a top athlete, you're playing soccer. If you're not good enough to play soccer, you play basketball. If you're not good enough to play basketball or soccer, the new sport used to be rugby, but rugby is like there's not really an avenue to make money there and escape the ghetto. So it goes to escape the ghetto of Argentina, the barrios. The number one option is soccer. If you don't make soccer, you do basketball. If you don't make basketball, it's now baseball because dude, I like every time I go to Argentina, there's a brand new baseball field. Like, what the fuck? And like,
the game is growing so much internationally now,
but it's dying here.
Yeah, but MLB has started to, over the last couple of years, MLB has started to finally realize that the only way to save the game and make it grow and not suck is they need to have international players become the faces of the game.
Well, I've always talked about this for any sports. And this is a whole thing with women's basketball. Like Adam Silver goes, women's basketball's the majority of women WNBA's fan base is older men who like fundamental basketball. Mm-hmm. And today it came out that the Phoenix Mercury is probably worth $44 million. And
the Suns owner's buying them.
Yeah, and the whole WNBA is worth under $1 billion. So basically, not even an NBA max contract you can operate and still have some money to spend if you want. Like you literally own a WNBA team as an NBA supermax player and still have $20-30 million.
I mean but you wouldn't be able to continue. You wouldn't be able to keep it operating for the entire season. There's a reason why the NBA subsidizes it.
Oh yeah, no, I know. But but what I'm getting to is the reason why WNBA is like, I mean, Bill Burr said it best is like the women failed WNBA.
Yeah.
Like if you support a fat chick's body image the same way you did the WNBA, it'd be sold out. But that comes down to there's no emotional attachment. I have no emotional attachment to a women's basketball game. I have an emotional attachment to women's field hockey, women's lacrosse, women's soccer. Why? Because those are what all the girls I was friends with and my sisters played growing up. Yeah. What does basketball and softball have in common? Women's basketball and softball have in common. They're primarily lesbian sports. I don't even mean to be like rude or anything. Most people like see them as lesbian sports, and
that's
the good percentage and good percentage of the women who like not good percentage, but a larger percentage compared to other sports, they are lesbians.
Except for like fighting, but
except for fighting, but like compared to soccer, lacrosse, field hockey, softball, and women's
I don't know about compared to soccer actually.
Yeah, you're right, but like
It's probably similar.
But the thing is like the girls I was friends with, my sister didn't play basketball or softball. I don't have it. So I believe for all sports, if you want to grow sports, you start up youth camps and you give them to kids when they're young for free. You get the kids when they're young. You give out tickets for $5 a pop, nosebleeds. You get at elementary schools in the local area. You get the kids young into the sport, and that's going to stick with them forever. Why do I like the NBA? Because when I was fucking in kindergarten, first grade, the Orlando Magic used to hand out to my school $5 nosebleed seats. Dad used to take me all the time, and like I think that's how I got hooked on the NBA.
Like I get what you're saying. I think part of it too is like I don't mean to sound like what's the word woke or whatever, but I think like traditional gender roles and have played a huge factor in why there aren't more women playing basketball over and why the WNBA isn't growing as much because as kids it's always like sports are
women like tearing each other down. Women want to see other women tear each other down.
I'm talking about like traditional generals, like sports are for men and like cooking and cleaning and like clothes is for girls. So like those traditional I'm not saying that's the only factor, but like I still.
But let's be honest, most girls don't care about sports. Like even if we brought up girls liking sports,
Cyro, what I'm saying is a reason why they don't care about sports. It's a factor for why they don't care.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's like.
But like even knowing my sisters and stuff, like if we even brought them up in like a communist country where like sports were ingrained in their lifestyle, like my mom grew up in Argentina. Yes, she cares about soccer, but like. My mom doesn't like necessarily care about sports, like she cares about the Olympics.
It's not like in Eastern Europe where like there are a shit ton of women's basketball teams and they all get paid more there than the other players here. That's why people like Brittany Griner go to Russia because they get paid more.
What's your thoughts on that? My whole thing is like I get it, like we had to do it, but the whole thing is Brittany Griner comes off entitled, ignorant, and
And it's not even her fault. Like,
well, no, it is her fault because she ignored a
I'm
travel
talking about
warning.
the people saying that she is entitled and
No, let me finish. Let me finish. If first off, before I say this, if I was in her shoes, I would want the U.S. and anybody else, if they were in Brittany Griner's shoes, we would want the U.S. government to trade the Merchant of Death so we could come home. Okay, let's first get that clear. 100%. I
Nobody
would.
wants to get locked up in a foreign country for some bullshit weed charges where Russia doesn't have like sentencing guidelines that we have, so they can basically just do whatever the fuck they want with them.
Okay, exactly. So,
like, you know how many times Brittany Griner probably brought weed on the plane going to Russia for the years that she played there? A whole bunch.
so let me get to. So this is why she comes off as entitled and ignorant. Is she got arrested a week before the Russian invaded, and the second thing is that means she ignored the travel warning the U.S. government had released for the past few previous months that you just should not go to Russia for any means
to play there.
That was her job. I know, but he even said for people going for business, you should not go for business to Russia for any sorts of means. It's been like that for like second. And the reason why she comes off entitled and ignorant, this is why some people are mad. And I'm not saying this is what I think. This is why I'm just saying why some people believe this is her team was owned by a Russian oligarch. She knew that if she ever got in trouble, she was one phone call away from calling a Russian oligarch that would take care of all her problems. So she knew that she could ignore and be oblivious to all the actual problems happening in that society because she had to get me out of free jail card.
Obviously, she didn't, man, because
because the Russian oligarch got. But you get what I'm saying? That's why she comes off as entitled and ignorant because she ignored, because she and greedy, because she took the money to go play in a corrupt nation. And due to the fact that
so many WNBA players have done that before too.
I know, but I'm just giving you what people are thinking, and I understand.
I know.
But do you get what I'm saying? Because it is
part of it's because part of it's because like America doesn't give a America also like doesn't really give a fuck about like black people or black women either. So they usually think it's their fault. Like that's part of it. But anyway, besides the point, like. Yeah, she shouldn't have brought weed on the plane. I get
my sister thing about this. An example, Laura, before she went to Cambodia, Bangkok, Thailand, and Vietnam, she searched up their laws. Whenever I would travel, I searched up laws. She found out that vaping is illegal in all those countries. And
weed is illegal in South Korea.
Yeah, and like if you go to one of these countries that she went in Asia and you vape, you go to jail for a year. So my sister didn't fucking bring a vape. Okay, so that's just being common sense.
She knew that because she had been there before, but she'd also probably brought weed before in the Russian.
Yeah, that's just me just saying that's why some people think she was greedy, entitled, and ignorant because she ignored.
The reason why she was thrown into jail is because the Russians wanted to.
It was a proxy war. She was used as a political
leverage against the United States and the West.
Yeah. Okay, so we're over here. Nikola Jokic. I think if we look at the NBA MVP tracker right now, I think they moved Nikola Jokic back to number 1. Yeah, Nikola Jokic. If the season were to end today, he has a 46.8% chance of winning MVP this year. He's averaging almost a block a game, 1.5 steals a game, 9.2 assists, 11 rebounds, and fucking 24.7 points. And over the last month, for the month of December, he's been averaging 30 a game and a triple-double every night. Shooting 64% effective field goal percentage, and his true shooting, I also believe, is not even human. I'm trying to find his true shooting. Right now, he's a 60%.
Who's second on that list? Is it Embiid, Luka, or Giannis?
Giannis. It goes Giannis with a 14.9%, and then Luka Doncic at 10.9. So basically Giannis and Luka are tied for second, and then it goes Jason Tatum. That's how crazy Jokic.
Wait, where's Embiid on there? Is he behind Tatum?
Embiid's not even on the list.
That is a joke, dude. He leads the league in scoring.
Okay, you want me to just show this list? Let's show this list instead.
Yeah, let's show this list because I'm a little pissed that Embiid is.
So
before we a bonus, man.
Yeah, the Sabonis. I don't know why Sabonis is in there. That's fucking crazy. But I want to say, and I'm standing up for this because this is what's blowing my mind, is the fact that right here we're looking at the fact that Nikola Jokic, a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, Jason Tatum was on the top of this list. Like
Yeah.
Jason Tatum was like unanimously the MVP. Like everyone was saying, this Boston Celtics team with how Jason Tatum was playing. Jason Tatum still hasn't really slept up. He's had 1 or 2 bad games, one of them being against the Warriors.
Still averaging 30.
Still averaging, like Jason Tatum still shredded shit up, okay?
100%.
But the tear that Nikola Jokic has been on, and like if you look at it, like his stats aren't that different than the past years. I know, but it's just like you watch a game and Nikola Jokic literally slows down the game.
Dude, he only had 13 points last night, but he still had a 13-13-13 triple-double. Shot 50% from the floor, and they won the game. And that was an off night for him scoring and shooting-wise. Shooting 50% from the floor is an off night for Jokic. And we just have to expect it from him every night.
Why do you think Jokic is, like, if you had to say, why would Jokic win his 3rd MVP in a row if he were?
Because no player is more important and vital to what their team does than him.
Is he like the literal definition of the most valuable
player?
I
100% agree. It's the same thing that when I was talking about, like, how like LeBron arguably should have won MVP every single year that he like was playing for the Cavs during his first stint. But he won 4 in 5 years. They didn't want to give him 3 in a row because, you know, it's LeBron. And didn't he, like what? They gave Derrick Rose that. They sandwiched Derrick because he won 2 MVPs in Miami. He got a couple MVPs in Cleveland. And then they sandwiched a Derrick Rose MVP in between them because, you know, they're tired of giving it to LeBron every year. And I hate voter fatigue. I think it's stupid. The most valuable player should win every year. And this year, just like it has been the last 2, no player is more valuable to what their team does than Jokic.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think Zion should be higher than Steph Curry. Donovan Mitchell deserves to be on that list. I think
Embiid deserves to be in the top 10 for sure. Embiid leads the league.
Sabonis has been insane. Like, don't get me wrong. Sabonis has been a mini Nikola Jokic over the past few weeks.
Embiid is averaging like 33 and 11. Like, how is he not anywhere in the list? That I don't understand. Embiid's averaging like 33, 10, and 5. That doesn't make sense to me why he's not on the list.
Yeah, I don't know why he deserves to be on this list 100%.
Yeah. Like, not saying he's the winner. I'd still have Tatum, Giannis, and Luka above him. But at the end of the day, Embiid's just doing what Embiid always does, which is play a lead offense and, you know, lead the Sixers in scoring and, you know, get a double-double every night. But at the end of the day, if you took Jokic off the Nuggets, they miss the playoffs. 100%. There is no way that team does anything without Jokic. They need him. He is so incremental to that team and so important to that team and what they do. And by that logic, I'd have to give him the MVP again because, you know, it's most valuable.
So the Chicago Bulls halftime dispute against the Minnesota Timberwolves last Sunday revolved around Zach LaVine's defense. Sources told Joe Cowley of the Chicago Sun-Times the Bulls would lose that game 150-126. Reportedly, there's been several blow-ups during halftime this season, with Billy Donovan having to come into the locker room to calm players down. Donovan confirmed there was another incident before Wednesday's game against the Heat. Cowley adds that Zach LaVine's name was never specifically called out during the dispute, but much of the criticism was directly at him. The Athletic reported earlier in the day that LaVine and DeMar DeRozan have been navigating an on-court disconnect throughout the season. And I think right here, do you think Zach LaVine gets traded this year, or do you think they try to run through the season?
He does not get traded this year. But that Athletic article that you're talking about was definitely interesting because I also read a Bleacher Report article talking about that too, and they threw the Lakers name in there about a potential trade destination for Zach LaVine. And
why do the Lakers want him when their problem is defense?
Exactly. I don't understand that. I don't think they will trade for him. I think that was just Bleacher Report trying to link Clutch Sports and Zach LaVine being from California to go there, but that's not going to happen. But
he's peaked. Zach LaVine has peaked.
Yes, he has. Has not been the same. But
Zach LaVine hasn't played defense in 5 years.
Yeah. Has not been the same since he had that massive injury a few years ago, but, you know, still a good offensive player, always there, but, you know, he's just not what he was.
He's the third guy on a championship team.
Yeah. But the thing is, right now, I saw this.
I would rather have Bradley Beal than Zach LaVine.
Me too, 100%. That's not even a question. But the Bleacher Report article that I was talking about, they were saying that that the Bulls, like one Eastern Conference executive was saying that the Bulls should tank, but they're not going to. And
well, because Orlando owns their pick.
Yeah, exactly. And unless it's a top 4 pick,
which is very hard. You don't have a big
it
shot.
won't be. The Bulls have too much talent to be a top 4 pick. But I got to find that article. It was like, there was one article where it was some NBA source was like, Zach LaVine never chose to be in Chicago, which he didn't. And he had that Kings offer sheet that they had a few years ago in the restricted free agency when the Kings offered him a fat contract and the Bulls matched it. Yeah. So Zach LaVine clearly, like, I think that definitely, like.
Wait, before you go on this rant, so the Bleacher Report article saying that Zach LaVine never wanted to be in Chicago, and
it was a quote from an NBA source said Zach LaVine never chose Chicago because, he was traded there, and 2
for Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, and 2 they had an offer sheet, but the Kings had an offer sheet that was matched in his restricted free agency with the Bulls. So
are you suggesting that Zach LaVine only re-signed this offseason because he was going through suitors
because of the max contract? Because the Bulls could offer him more than any other team could.
It was for like $30 million more than every.
The NBA source said that too. They literally said he wasn't going to turn away $215 million from the Bulls. Nobody else had that kind of money.
That's what I'm saying. So they basically are saying the only reason he stayed in Chicago this offseason was because they could the most an other team could offer him was 185, and the Bulls could offer him 250.
The Bulls offered him more. They matched his restricted free agents offer first for the offer sheet from the Kings, and also this source also said that it was an eyesore contract, and that the Bulls just don't. The source doesn't know if the Bulls have a market for him.
Wait, so they're saying Zach LaVine's contract's an eyesore already?
Oh, they said the quote says it was an eyesore immediately when he signed it.
Damn.
Yeah. So that and there was another NBA executive that was talking about how they should tank, but they won't, because they gave up too much to get Vucevic, and which they did. The Bulls are in a terrible spot right now. I do not envy them. They're not good enough to contend and win.
Trade Zach LaVine for Duncan Robinson.
No, man.
Kyle Lowry and Duncan Robinson for Zach LaVine.
No, dude, if the Bulls did that, that'd be a sign of them giving up. And if there's one thing we know about the Chicago Bulls, it's that they never give up.
Well, the Chicago Bulls I wrote an article last night, and one of my...
I know the guard packs is gone, but they are still never going to give up. They are perfectly fine with treading water like that Rondo, Butler, and Wade Bulls team that was an 8 seed.
So
that's what they do.
Plugging in our website I built yesterday, still putting up finishing touches. You can also, if you guys want, you can watch the stream live right there. And then I got to recalibrate where it is, but you can watch the stream. But in one of my latest posts that I wrote about the Chicago Bulls, I said the Chicago Bulls don't make sense. And right here in my opening paragraph, I wrote, I need help understanding the Chicago Bulls. We are less than 5 years removed from Fred Hoiberg's final season. This team has been in a perennial loop of targeting and building teams through free agency since the end of the Derrick Rose era. It seems like this team's owner, Jerry Reinsdorf, is more concerned about just making the playoffs than actually competing in them.
Exactly. I know that Gar Foreman and John Paxson aren't running things anymore technically, but it's still Reinsdorf, and the Bulls are still doing the same thing that they did during Fred Hoiberg's last year when they had the Rondo, Wade, and Jimmy Butler Bulls that were the 8 seed. They're still doing that. They have not changed. They still think that they can win with this roster instead of doing more than just treading water, and they're not even treading water right now.
I completely agree.
This year, they have to. If they don't make the playoffs and that pick goes to the Magic, then the Bulls need to blow everything up. But it's not easy for them to do that.
Do you know what time it is, Luke? Well, it's the time we like to play how we wrap up every episode. And the music speaks for itself. But you know what time it is. Waiting for the music to drop. But it's that time.
Yesterday, because 2 days ago was the first try Jared Allen guest. That was easy.
Yeah, yesterday it was Cody Martin.
Cody Martin.
All right, here we go. Oh, I think I know who this is.
Go ahead. Yeah, maybe. No.
Oh, I thought Jaden Ivey. Nothing. He's not in the Eastern Conference.
Wow, that didn't help us. His number is less than 23.
Okay, yeah, here's your hints. He's taller than 6'4", he's older than 20, his number's below 23, and he's not in the Eastern Conference.
Just say, I know it's not De'Aaron Fox, but say De'Aaron Fox just so we can get some hints.
Okay, Pacific.
We got the number. We're 2 within the number. His number's 3 or 4.
And his number's below 5.
It's 3 or 4 because it's within 2. So his number's 3 or 4. He's in the Pacific Division. And
Pacific is Lakers, Kings,
Clippers, Warriors, and
Trailblazers? Or are they? No, they're.
They're Northwest. I want to say
Suns?
Phoenix.
Suns, okay.
I want to say Phoenix, I believe. Wait, let me look up NBA divisions real quick.
I know it's not Devin Booker, but I just want to make sure it's not the Phoenix Suns. It's not. Okay,
it's not
so
the Phoenix Suns, and his number's 3. His number's 3. We know that for a fact.
All right, 3 on the
I'm
Portland.
terrible with numbers, though. I am
Okay.
terrible with numbers.
3 on the Kings. It's not. Wait, he's not on the Kings. So
He's not on
3
the He's in the division.
Oh, dude, this is so easy. You ready?
Oh, yeah, that's a lock. Yeah. Yeah. If it's 3 for any of the teams in the division, that's a lock. Yeah.
You know what they fucked up is because they should have put a yellow for his number 23 because he used to wear 23. Also, they lied to us. They lied to us because when LeBron changed the 6, Anthony Davis was supposed to change the 23.
Yeah. But
They lied to us.
They
They
did.
never did.
They lied to us.
And
But-
LeBron was 1 season late on changing the number 6.
Yeah, because he didn't. How many years did he? I think it's because that some
No, originally it was he had to wait 1 season for them to sell out stock.
Yeah, like they
cost
totally
him
could do
$5
it.
million. But Space Jam was supposed to come out that summer. Space Jam got delayed 1 year, and LeBron went 2 years with wearing 23, and then after that he wore 6 the year Space Jam came out. He announced a month before Space Jam came out that he was switching to 6. So I think it wasn't about the jerseys selling the jerseys out. It was about coinciding it with the release of Space Jam.
Space Jam.
Which I still haven't seen, but I've heard if you watch it expecting it to be as good as the first one, it's not. But if you watch it
expecting it to be shitty.
No, you watch it as a kids movie.
What?
Watch it expecting it to be a kids movie.
Yeah, watching it expect to be a dumb kids movie, and that's exactly what it was.
It's good. Well, I saw Super Pets, and me and Nikki put that on to study. And dude, we couldn't study. We stopped studying to watch Super Pets because we were like, this movie's actually way too fucking good.
Yeah, but Space Jam is not that. It's a shitty kids movie, but it's a good shitty kids movie. You just gotta expect
All right.
one.
What'd you think of today's show, buddy?
Oh, it's always nice. Unfortunately, Jackson couldn't be here today, but
I know. You'll be here tomorrow?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'll be here tomorrow.
All right. That's it for today, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy. Be a friend and tell a friend if you did. We'll be back here tomorrow at the same time, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern time, 3 to 4 Eastern time. I believe that is on the West Coast or 2 to 3. I don't fucking know. Have a great day, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.